Okay, so if we do that, we should be live. We'll do this. There we go. Look at that. Welcome into Tim's Corner Live. This is episode 211. Tim Terry, Dylan Lanchel. I'm trying to get comfortable here because it's been a day. So uh, it is. We were talking about it coming on air, Dylan. It is storming on the hill tonight. It is like raining and it's windy and it's everything else. So I think tonight, I think most of this night should be fine for video, but we may have a couple of times where we're a little freeze framey tonight. So if you join us and all of a sudden we're frozen, but you can still hear us, then that's going to be the way it is. Internet out in the woods in the middle of a rain slash snow slash whatever. It's going to be fun, but we're here, so that's all that matters. It's been a fun week. It's the middle of January. Everybody's getting excited to go either racing down south or watching racing. It's going to be a busy month and a half or so. We were just talking about it coming on the air, but how was your week, Dylan?
It's all right. It's morning radio and having a baby, man. So life is good. Life is good. Sleep's all over the place, but you know what? I actually was just watching the Piccott Care 50 that's on YouTube before we came on because I was
Yep.
like, man, because it was Stephen Pickett Jr. coming on. He started on the pole that race.
Yep.
So even just watching that gorgeous Saturday night natal day weekend in PEI. It's going to be excited to get back to the island and to get back to the track, but particularly that weekend because my family are Islanders. We have a cottage there, so we parlay that into a family weekend. We go golfing and everything. It's like, those weekends you can't beat. You get a little racing in, but you do a little golfing and maybe a bevy or two and some good food. Oh, I can't wait.
They do have a drivers meeting, by the way, this weekend. They are on Saturday at the Winslow Lions Club, I do believe. So all their divisions are having their meetings. Sunday is Lake Dowsets, by the way. So if you're down in Yarmouth, I got to go to Yarmouth last week and enjoy down there. Didn't really enjoy the score of the Yarmouth Truro hockey game. By the end of it, two periods really, really close. Third period wasn't. Got to see Cliff Gable, got to see Joe Harry and JP Arsenault, and had a feed at Rudders and dinner plate and Bailey's. The downside to all of this is somewhere along those lines, I got food poisoning.
Oh no.
So ever since like Saturday night, and Brandon, were you here the Saturday night iRacing deal that we did?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it was you, James Pileski, and Brianna Weagle in Discord, and I was like, I've got to go.
Yeah.
5 minutes before qualifying, I was like, I got to go, and that's where it started. And luckily, I got out to the Bearcats game on Sunday because my seats where I sit are like, a 5-second walk to the restroom. So if I need to go, I need to go. But I didn't have any solid food until like last night. So I like to eat. I was quite hungry. And then all of a sudden it, did its 36-hour or 72-hour spell, got through it. We're back. I'm feeling as fine as I did Saturday before everything happened. So, but Yarmouth is great. I mean, it's a little bit touch and go when you come to the winter time and all the snow and everything else. Beautiful day through Bridgewater, beautiful day through Halifax. You get down to about Barrington, and there wasn't a plow or a salt truck to be seen, and it was a little bit touch and go. But again, great area, great time. The Mariner Center is a great little facility. If you've never been down there to watch a game of hockey, great time down there. And now here we are, and we're getting ready for another week and another Tim's Corner live show. So Doug Jago's watching. I see Art McNamara is watching. Art's watching because he wants to see Joey Livingstone coming up in the first segment. So we mentioned it. Got Joey Livingstone coming up. Excuse me, in segment number one. Joey's third time on the show, first time we've had him since 2024, so we really haven't had the opportunity to talk about what was a stellar 2025 for Joey Livingstone. There was a couple of times where, I'm sure he wanted some of those races back and, a couple of mechanical failures and what have you, but we talked about the B feature win at Riverside on our year in review show, the podium at Scotia for the Mass Series. He's got a couple of highlights and was in the championship battle at Scotia for most of that Friday night weekly racing series deal with the Sportsman. So we'll talk to Joey Livingstone off the top of the show. We're going to talk to two guys in segments 2 and 3 that have never been on this show before through 211 episodes. Buddy Steve Curtis is going to be with us in segment number 2. Steve won the best looking car award for his Plymouth, his Fast Fury, whatever you want to call it, the hot rod. So we'll catch up with one of the Heart of a Champion Hot Rod Classics drivers in segment 2. And then in segment 3, we are going to catch up with Stephen Pickett Jr. And Stephen Pickett Jr. is going down for his first foray to race Winter Nationals this year. He's going to race a little bit of Showdown as well, so he will be with us in segment 3. I see Patty Squires is watching. Happy New Year to Patty and everybody over there at Eastbound. I'm sure they've got some announcements coming up the pipe. Exciting time to be a race fan in Newfoundland and Labrador. So, and their drivers did fairly well in our year-end awards as well. So congratulations to all of them. And this is the time where all these schedules start coming out too. I know we had the schedules last week with Sydney and Yarmouth, and obviously the 2 tours. I think this is where everybody's going to start, putting stuff together. I know I've had a couple of conversations this week, but this is where everything starts to come together, right, Dylan?
Yeah, it's that point of the year where yes, things are slow, like it's January typically, but in reality, things are really heating up because for racers, whether it's a mini stock or a pro stock, I mean, the work's got to start being put in now because these schedules are starting to come out. You got to start thinking, okay, we're going to blink and it's going to be May, which now mid-May is really the season opener. And I'm sure in a couple of years, I think probably late April is going to become the norm just with the weather changes.
Yeah, and I mean the worst thing about that time of year is the rain and the unpredictability of what you're going to see precipitation wise. It gets a little bit warmer. Like we do our kart race in April at ECK, which the registration is probably going to open the next month or so. But that's when that weather starts to get a little bit better. But it's still the unpredictability of the rain and everything being uh, saturated. I mean, we talked about it last week about Oyster Bed clearing snow off their racetrack in late April, early May, like 5-10 years ago. So it's come a long way since then. Greg Seward is watching. Happy birthday to Greg. I know he celebrated this week, so happy birthday to Greg. Greg is what?
The Moosehead game. I saw him in the better half of the Moosehead game on Saturday. And
Of
then
course.
Luis, there's everything.
Not ready for hockey.
Not yet.
No. I want to get a whole Greg because I want to get Greg and Patty on this show. So I'll message Greg here in a bit. Your banquet's coming up too, isn't it?
Yeah, next weekend.
Yeah. So that is just right around the corner. So that's going to be one to be
We're
a
in the
part
flurry
of.
of banquet season. The mass banquet's like 2 weeks after up in Truro on the 31st. You know what's gonna be good about that day, Tim?
What's that?
The Royal Rumble's in the afternoon on the 31st now.
Right, because it's in
Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia. I think Raw's early this week too because they're in Germany, aren't they?
I guess so. So I can go watch some wrestling, and then I can go hang out with Craig McFetridge and the gang.
There you go. I may end up at that banquet. I'm off that week. I may end up at that banquet. I know we're talking about potentially crashing that one, but I wish I could be 2 places at once. That hot rod banquet is always a good time. I'm going to be at the NX banquet down in Charlotte, so I won't be able to make it. Be at Winter Heat. Brandon, I'm sure you saw the news about Winter Heat. They're running the full Roval for Legend cars.
Yeah, somebody was telling us that I think last week. That's kind of insane. Those things will be humming around there.
So just to put it into perspective, Dylan, Legend cars, put them on the Roval that NASCAR runs.
Yeah.
Put them on the full mile and a half.
It's crazy.
It'll be a test for them, that's for sure.
Well, and I think I saw a comment from like Cameron Bolin or somebody on the Legends Nation deal that you're gonna have to race with your head. Like
Yeah.
you're gonna learn really, really quickly that you need to race with your head. Now I think the Chargers and the Bandos are racing infield courses. I think the Bando course is shorter than the Chargers course. I think the Chargers are racing the same one that they would have ran last year, which is most of the Roval, is still the infield sort of deal. You come back out and you go through and whatever, but you don't do the big NASCAR oval. So that is a week and a half or 2 weeks from now, I guess. So it's going to be a test to see who is up on the wheel and who is not. It's funny too to see, and we used to have it here when the Legend cars went to AMP. You get to see who is really good on the oval, and then you get to see who might be a little bit better on the road course and who might have that little bit of skill. And up here, typically it's the same sort of guys. You look at Danny Chisholm. Danny Chisholm's phenomenal on road courses and Legend cars. But back in the day, it was your Cole Butchers, your Emily Meehan's, your those guys, Jared Butchers, Justin McNeil's, the guys that were good on the oval, typically good on the road course too.
Yeah, I think of a guy, a New England guy like Trevor Krause.
Yes.
He's not awful on ovals, obviously, but when they go to the Loudon road course, he's one of the better ones every week.
Yeah, and you look at a guy like Sean Buffington, who moved into Masters after being in pro for so many years. I think he's 45 now, but really, really good on the road courses and decent on the ovals too. So you get those guys that are both the same. I do see Rob Bonus is watching, and we had the conversation earlier off the air. And I'll bring this because Rob doesn't know about this. He might, but he's going to know about it now. The Flagman show that Joe Harry keeps saying we need to have, as long as the internet doesn't do spectacular crazy things at the end of January, our plan. So let's while we wait for Joey Livingstone, he should be here in a couple of moments. We are off next week, so I fly to Charlotte early Thursday. So we are off next Wednesday. We are not here next week. We are here the 21st. And we are here the 28th. We are going to add a show the last week of January, whether it's the 27th or the 29th, the Tuesday or the Thursday. So it's going to be a double. The second show is going to be our Flagman show. So we're still trying to figure out who we're going to have. I think me and Brandon, you and I talked about this, that if we have a bunch of guys in there, it almost turns into like the Christmas party where it's almost controlled chaos and there's a lot going on and there's like 9 or 10 or 12 people. We're going to limit it probably to active flag people that are around. Like I think we could do a show with Art Steves on his own, and Joey Moser's his own, like he's a flagman. But I think
he's our last ever show because we might not make it after that.
Yeah, so but I think Joey is a lot more as well. When outside of an official, he's a race fan, he goes everywhere else. I think that is a show on its own, or at least a regular show. So that last week of January, we are going to have our regular show, which will come first on that week, and then the next night will be our Flagman show. And Dylan, I think it's going to be like our mom show we had a couple of years ago, where you and I just sit back and enjoy the stories.
Just take it all in.
Yeah. Patty says Billy Powell started the double checkered flag finishes, and that's I want to get Billy on that show too, because I think Billy has a lot of stories to tell, and I think a lot of those guys going up and down the road, just like you and I, we have a lot of stories to tell that from our past that we can bring up. Obviously, a 2-hour show is not going to be enough.
Well, we've all flagged in here, right? You flagged a race up in the Shee. I flagged a race at Valley Raceway.
I flagged a race
at practice.
I flagged a race at Lake Dowsett too. And Denver will be the first to admit, because I forget who was there watching it, but I dropped a flag at Lake Dowsett. But the only reason why, so it was a lawnmower race, and Joe Harry was in the lawnmower race, so there was nobody on the flag stand. So when I put a flag in, I think it was beside the white flag, and the white flag was just barely inside the actual hole, the flag itself. So when I pulled the white flag out, I think it might have been the green flag that I dropped, and it went on the racetrack. And that is one of those, taboo things that you don't do. It's like one of those things where you're supposed to burn the flag or something, from what somebody told me. But yeah, Billy and Rob are both watching, so you guys are invited. It's going to be the last week of January. We're going to figure out whether it's the 28th or the 29th. Rob said, I'll just walk over to Billy. So there you go. Steve Austin's going to be a part of it. Steve and I have been back and forth about this the last little bit. So, we'll have Joe Harry, and we'll have a couple of others that are our flagmen that are around, and we'll tell some stories and have a good time that night. That'll be our before we get Joey Livingstone on here, that'll be our last show prior to our February break. And at this point right now, my flight from Florida comes back on the 18th, which is the Wednesday. So unless that changes, we're definitely off the 4, we're definitely off the 11, and we're probably off the 18th as well. So, and then we return the end of February. And then Dylan, you and I and Brandon, just before we came on air, we're talking about Brandon babysitting Big M.
Yeah, I got a wedding to go to down south in March, so I got to go down to the Dominican. They have to go to an all-inclusive resort. Pinch me. Yeah, that's what's going to be. I should be nice and tan for racing season.
There you go.
Do you check credentials? I don't have my babysitter's course, but I can get it if it's required.
We'll figure it out.
All right, good.
We shared a hotel room.
That's true. with your alarm going off at 3 a.m. and you didn't even turn it off. You just snoozed
that
it
is
for 2 hours.
that is preparation for a baby because they go off all the time.
You gonna
This was
order a
5 years
combination
ago.
pizza too?
Team
Team
Terry.
Terry.
Joey, when's the last time you babysat?
Oh, it's been a few years, Tim.
Welcome in. Happy New Year. I said that to you on January 1st, but I'll say it to you again.
Happy New Year, everybody.
How has the off season been? How close are you guys to getting ready to go racing?
The season's been pretty good so far. We're up the other day and get the body all off the car, and we're going to start getting things done for this season coming up.
So, outside of racing, you're fairly busy. You had a good hunting season, didn't you?
I sure did.
You want to tell everybody the bounty that you got?
Well, we had two nice little bucks this year. Wasn't the big guy I wanted to get, but we got two anyways. Freezer's full.
I was to say, in the off season, you've been busy cooking everything deer, right?
Oh yeah, I just finished cooking up some deer meat about an hour ago.
Oh, there you go. Dylan, I don't know if there's any left, and I know Joey says it takes hours of preparation to make, but his deer jerky, phenomenal.
Okay. But the thing, my dad's a hunter, so like I got sick on deer steak like years ago. Deer jerky and deer pepperoni though.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, nice.
Hopefully, I'll have some left. Maybe I'll
I was gonna
take
say,
some off the first race this year.
Yeah, you gotta try and savor for May long weekend, and then you can hang on.
All right.
As long as Sammy Luddington's not around, because I think between me and him, we cleared out the deer jerky and the deer pepperoni on New Year's Eve. So as long as you can keep both of us away, we'll be fine, right?
It didn't last long.
No, it did not. Let's go back, because I was looking. The last time you were on the show was at winter time last year. So we've got a lot to talk about. Where do you want to start? Let's start with Mass, because I think the first big thing that happened last year was you on the podium at Scotia, right?
Yeah, we did.
Take us back to that day, because there was a lot go on. There's a lot of excitement there, what have you. But at the end of the day, you're standing on the podium in Halifax with a trophy. So for you and your team, how big was that?
Oh, it was an awesome way to start the season off. It was pretty big for our team. You know, it was the first 100-lapper we actually finished, and we finished second in it with two of the best cars out there, Matt Vaughn and Dylan Dow.
To be on the podium with those guys, and you've got a smaller team, but to be up on the wheel and get up with them, how big was that for you?
It's actually really pretty big for us to be able to do that and compete with them guys. Like we have a pretty old car actually compared to these guys. We got it working pretty good, and we're good. Actually, good. I'm glad we'll be able to compete with them with it.
Well, and you had a heck of a year the year before. Like you'd have strong runs, and then it would end up in the wall. Like it seemed like in 2024. So to start 2025, that must have just felt like the monkey got thrown off the back a little bit.
Oh, 2024 was that was a season from hell. It was everything. Every weekend, I think we finished one or two races that year, and that was every weekend we broke something. Something would break, and we had no luck at all.
But yeah, bad luck. That was the only luck.
Yes, and 2025 was quite the turnaround year for us. And man, we had quite the year last year, and hopefully this year we're going to have a lot better year.
So we had that podium at Scotia. I think the next biggest thing, you had a couple of good runs in between, but let's skip to July. You've been going back to Riverside, which is your home racetrack for the last couple of seasons with that Sportsman car. What was it like taking a checkered flag around there in that B main?
It felt pretty good, Tim. It's been a long time, and we deserve that win, and for me and for my crew and especially my family, that's our home track. Hopefully we can get that IWK win this year down there in July, that 100-lapper.
There were still 15, 16 cars in that B main. That wasn't just like a 7-car B main. That was like half the field to set the rest of the starting lineup.
Yeah, it was pretty good competition in that and I'm glad we held them all off and kept them behind us and took that win home.
What is that Friday night like as a driver? I know as the announcer, being on the front stretch, seeing the place packed for a Sportsman race on a Friday night, it's gives you goosebumps. But I couldn't imagine being behind the wheel, putting the show on.
Oh, it's quite the feeling, and it is, especially down there. The adrenaline down there, it's something else. It's like from the fans to the drivers, just the atmosphere, everybody. Like it's quite the place, and it's quite the event.
Eh, Obviously, the IWK 250 weekend was big. We come off of that high, and you kind of, it's kind of like the midway point of our season. We go to the 100, and then we get to the championship races and the big open races. But you were involved in the championship hunt at Scotia up until pretty much the end of the season. So to be in that weekly series deal and be competitive to run for a championship, how neat was that? And were you tracking points at all anywhere throughout the season?
Oh, it was quite the season. Man, we had a lot of fun, battling all season. Like there's actually, it should have been six of us, seven of us that should have been battling for the points, but the top four of us, we battled all year and had a lot of fun. And I couldn't wait to see the points update every time. I waited and waited for the points update just to see if we were going, how close we were. But so we ended up fourth overall, which is pretty damn good.
Absolutely. I think the biggest thing at Scotia this year, at least change wise in the Sportsman division, was that new tire rule and trying to bring everybody back together and try to bring, the lower budget team back in for you guys. How big was the tire rule, for changing for you guys?
It does help. I think it makes a difference myself because there's teams that can buy a new set of tires every weekend, and there's guys like us can, we got to get 2 or 3 weeks out of a set of tires, and we got to make them last. But I think this tire rule is a really good thing.
Absolutely. Greg Seward says it was the orange in 2024, and you and I had that conversation about orange is probably never going to be on the
Yeah.
race car again, right?
Oh, it'll never be on the car again. Trust me.
You've had some different paint schemes and different colors on that car, though. And going back to 2024, that was the 25th year. That was the big year with the numbers that Mike Fancy did and all the pictures inside the numbers. I remember on race number one, which was the race that I had Ashton Smythe up here for, we stood there for like 5 minutes in the lineup just looking at the numbers and looking at it like I remember that, this
Yeah.
was there, or whatever else. For you, how neat was that to have those that scheme at maybe not the orange, but at least the numbers that had all those photos and all those memories.
Oh, it's a lot of memories, like right from back when my dad raced, and but when I started racing, there's a lot more pictures. I wish I can maybe do that again down the road, and like the memories there. I don't know. It's hard to explain. It is.
Well, you've
There
got
are a
another
lot of them.
25 years in you, right?
Oh yeah, I hope so.
I want to
I have to
go ahead.
catch Gary Elliott.
So just okay, so that's 50 years with Quaker State. He's been, yeah, so you've got some time. That- Dylan, he's got some years.
Yeah, man, there might be flying cars by the time you're hanging it up. We'll see.
I might be single by then too.
Heather didn't hear that, did she?
Oh yeah, she heard that. She's sitting right there.
Dylan, what do you got for Joey tonight?
What are you looking forward to? Just besides like generally getting back to racing in 2026, is there any particular event that you got marked on the calendar that you're like, you know what, we're gonna really throw it at the wall this year and try, or do you just hope that it's a calm season where you don't break anything?
I I like to start off and have a good season, keep and try to finish every race. But that Shriners Classic is on my radar this year, and hopefully that 100 lapper at IWK 250 weekend at Riverside. That would be awesome to win in front of my home track and crowd, and a lot of my home sponsors are down there, like Monk's Head Smoked Cheese. Stort, I know you're probably watching, buddy.
What's the what how good of a combination would his cheese and your jerky be?
Oh, that'd be an awesome combination. I got to try that. Maybe we should.
There you go, Tim. I just put out a good idea. You're welcome, Stuart.
Yeah, Stewart always posts his combinations. He's got like pepperoni and everything else. So at least if it's not the jerky, the pepperoni's going to fit with it, right?
The deer pepperoni would be good.
Yeah, yeah. I think and I keep saying it. And there's no endorsement deal or anything else, but his smoked cheese is phenomenal. I had it at Speed Sport last year, and I
It's
think
awesome.
every time we go to Riverside, I tell him, I was like, pick me up a couple of sampler packs. I just finished. I had one frozen. I just finished one at Christmas time, so I'm
Mhm.
officially out of cheese. So, Stuart, next time I'm up through Antigonish, Sydney, somewhere up there, I will definitely be making a stop and grabbing some cheese. Just phenomenal.
Yeah, the cheese is awesome. I like them. I like it. It's good on everything.
Yeah, absolutely it is. Let's look forward to 2026. We kind of did a little bit with Dylan mentioning the events you might have circled, but what are the plans? Are we at Scotia full time? Are we? Do you have anything else that's in the mind? What's the plan?
We're going to run the Scotia full time this season. We're going to try to get the top 3 in the points. We're going to try to battle for another good point season this year, and we're going to probably do the Mass Tour too.
Looking at that Scotia season, there's a lot of good cars there, and it looks like we might have one or two. I see JJ McRae's got his almost ready to go, and we obviously had 2 rookies this year with Haley Bland and Dawson Noble being a part of it. What's it like to see these? Not saying that you've got a couple of years on you, but you're experienced in the sports and division now. What's it like seeing some new blood come in?
It's pretty good to see the younger generation come in and battle with us. Them younger drivers that's going to be the next future here in the sport for us, because we need them out there, and they're a pretty good bunch of people to race with. I like racing with Dawson and Haley. They're going to pretty good competition.
It sounds like Alex Johnson's coming back full time by what we hear. It looks like he's got a Sportsman car. So, adding Alex Johnson back to the mix with a guy like Darren Hiltche and obviously Andrew Lively, he's coming back strong. You got these guys that are going to be here every single week. For those that might be in New Brunswick, because I know their Sportsman count's dwindling a little bit, or Prince Edward Island that might not see the sports and division every Friday night. How tough is it to be there and run up front with these Sportsman cars every Friday night, knowing that there might only be 40 lap features, but the competition's steep, right?
Yes, it's very steep. Anybody can win up there on a Friday night. Anybody from first to last, and don't matter who it is out there. And it's showed last year up there. It did. The competition, it's awesome. I like the competition, and I think the Sportsman Series up at Scotia Speed World is probably the best going there is, and even with the pro stock, I don't know. I think Sportsman's probably one of the best racing there is. 40 laps up there it's pretty intense sometimes. It
And
is.
you got to get up on the wheel and make passes. You got a guy like Sheldon Pemberton. You want to talk about experience? Darn near won himself a Sportsman championship this year at 60 years young. And you look at drivers that are looking for their first win that have been around for a little while. We had Jeffrey Breen win his first at Scotia this season. Not to bring back bad memories, but yourself and Scott O'Neill are still looking for your first Sportsman wins. What do you got to do this year? Because I know if Scott is anywhere close, he's going to be hungry. We saw that before. What's it going to take to get that first win?
Just got to be there, and you got to have patience and be there at the end, and just that's all. You just got to have patience and be there. And anybody can win. It's I never forget that night. I'll still never forget that, Scott. I was watching that video the other day, actually.
I don't think anybody will, and it's one of those things that you guys are so competitive, and it goes down to both of you guys hadn't won a race and haven't got that feature win as of yet. When you look back at it, obviously that's going to be water under the bridge, but it gives you a little bit of fire, doesn't it, to get up there and try to do it again and win a race?
It sure does. It sure does. And Scott is a very good competitor too. He is. A little rough sometimes, but he's a pretty good competitor.
Well, everybody can be rough from times, right?
I can be a little rough too, but yeah, that's right. We all can be.
Tim, I'm
We
holding
try not to
Emerson.
go. We try not to go that route, but I like good clean racing. That's what I like.
I'm holding Emerson, Tim, and he was laughing and smiling during Joey's story about getting dumped for the lead. But I swear it wasn't like at you though. He's just being a baby.
Yeah.
You say he's a Kevin Moore fan, right?
Hey, you're still a Kevin Moore fan, right? He just started crying, so I had to put a soother in his mouth.
Oh,
Are
okay.
you a Kevin Moore fan still? Yeah, he's kind of grimacing.
Kevin Moore.
Kevin Moore? Kevin
Aw.
Moore? Yeah.
Yeah,
Kevin Moore.
yeah.
Kevin Moore.
Let's peer into the crystal ball a little bit more. Let's put budget wise aside. You've raced a lot of racetracks around here. Is there a racetrack, and regardless if they race Sportsman or not, and I know Oyster Bed doesn't run Sportsman cars, but is there a racetrack that you'd like to go race if they allowed Sportsman cars or they invited the Sportsman cars to come run?
Yeah, Oyster Bed was. I always wanted to race Oyster Bed. I did, and it's kind of a shame they don't have a sportsman class over there or invite us. I wish they'd invite us. Like I know they would, but I just wish could get a group of cars to go over and run for a race sometime.
I think that's one of the ones that hasn't had. I think the last time they had a sportsman race was 20. I want to say 2000. If Vino was watching, he would know because he was up front in that race. 2009, I think,
Hmm.
maybe 2008, sometime
Yeah,
in that deal. Because I think that was the deal, the battle between Jordan Vino and Brent Roy for that win.
yeah. I think Jordan won that race, didn't they?
Something like that. Yeah.
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 Yeah. That's
That'd
that.
be
It's
awesome.
been a while.
It'd be awesome if you had 20 cars to go over there for just for a race for a weekend. That would be pretty cool.
We'll have to maybe twist the arms of the powers that be to, and it's hard to schedule a weekend like that because obviously you guys are doing sports and racing and everything else, and Friday
For
nights
sure.
at Scotia, and then the Mass Series and some of those big races, and Oyster Bed has their own deal. So maybe on a pro stock tour September show when you
That'd be
guys are
awesome.
pretty well
September.
done, right? Yep.
Hmm. September or even 1st October or something, or then you're getting into other races too in the fall and stuff. But it still be a good chance. Be good. Be fun to go try.
Ricky McFetridge is having a hard time spelling Doucet or Dowsett in the chat, and Joe Harry said the same thing.
Mhm.
What would make you twist your rubber arm to go to Lake Dowsett?
It's just part of travel. Just the cost of fuel, like to get down there. But if I had to find the funds to go for fuel to get down there, I'd love to go down there and race there and be fun track to try. I went down there and pitted with Harry Ross White there back in an Napa tour. That was the year that Steve Ross won the big race down there. That was quite the show. That was the only time I was ever down there, and I'd love to go back. Just love to go try that track. It'd be fun.
They are on Pro Stock Slicks now. Use Pro Stock Slicks.
Mhm.
Did you try those when they went to Petty a couple of years ago when they went to Pro
No,
Stock
they
Slicks?
no, they didn't have them that year when we went there. They didn't have them that time when we went up. We had to run our tires.
But it's still a wild racetrack, regardless on what tire you put them on or everything else, right?
It looks like a fun track. I think I'd like it. Looks pretty fast, and you know, looks like a good bunch of people down there to go down there and hang out with.
Yep. Phenomenal people. Just avoid the food poisoning. That's all I have to say after the weekend. But yeah, no, it's a great time, great people. Definitely have to check that one out. Mark Gautreau was in the chat too. He said that was a fun weekend because he would have been in that race the same time.
Yes,
So
I think he finished in the podium that night too. He did.
absolutely. I want to ask you because we ask every time we have a conversation because he's camera shy and he won't come on the show. But how big of a help is Jimmy Hape to you and your race team?
Jimmy's my number one guy. He's my everything guy in the car. Like he's my spotter, my crew chief, my tire guy. He keeps me in line. My car's in the shop. He's my best friend. Like we've been best friends forever, and keeps me in line at the track, and we work pretty good together for what we have.
I know Dylan, when I was over at New Year's Eve, Jimmy was, because we were at Jimmy's for New Year's, he was showing me his old helmet and showing me all these pictures from when he was racing and everything else. Like he's, I don't know if would Jimmy ever get back. I know we have this enduro deal, and there's a lot of guys getting back in a race car. I know Jimmy at one point said he wouldn't, but do you ever think we see Jimmy back in a race car? You know, this enduro thing's taking off, right?
I don't think I don't know if he would or not, but I would like to see him get back in, but I don't think he would. Just I think he's having fun right now, or helping me more fun helping me. It's a little easier on the pocket. It is. I like to get him in my car and let him try it out sometime and practice. Maybe rent the track at the end of at the end of the year at Scotia. Let him try it out.
You guys also have Dan Cameron a part of your team or a part of that. They're both inside the garage when you guys go racing. So how neat is it to have Dan Cameron kind of a part of your guys' team too?
Dan's a big help to our team, and he is. He's a pretty good friend. And well, we got tore up in Antigonish in the IWK 250 weekend, and we it took us 10 days. We got the car clipped, and he was there every day to work on it. He put a lot of hours on my car to make sure we went out back, make sure I get back to Scotia Speed World and the next race, so I can keep battling for the points championship. Oh, go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, absolutely. It's that camaraderie, right?
Mm-hmm. Dan's an awesome guy. He's a good help, and he's a good help with on the 25 team, Ryan Orscott's team too.
Alex Johnson says, can't wait to get back racing with you this summer. Pete Miller's watching as well. I know he had a comment. Yeah, he says Lake Dowsett's a fun track for sure. So it's going to be a fun season, I think, regardless at Scotia or wherever you may roam about, trying to get this thing to the front and bringing it into victory lane. I do want to ask as well, because Jimmy told me this story about when you guys come back home from the race shop. The kids are up at night too, welcoming you guys back, right? I didn't know this story until he told me this on New Year's.
They have the lights on in the garage doors open, and they're waiting for us to back in and unload the car and unload the truck and see how the night goes and checking the damage out on the car. And yeah.
And for those that don't know, it's a late night for some of you guys, because you guys will get done at Scotia at like 10:30. It's another
12:30, 1 o'clock, and when we're home, time we're home. It's a late night. And then doing lobster fishing, and I get up at 3:30 and I'm gone at 4 o'clock. So that's a really long night.
I know there was a couple of nights, I think it was especially at the start of the season this year, where you were kind of, looking for a nap at some point, right?
Yes, the Petty race, we had to drive to Petty. I fished, I was running on about 3 hours sleep. And we raced that Friday night at Scotia, and I got home at 1 in the morning and went to bed, and I got up, went lobster fishing at 4 a.m. and back at dinner time. Then we drove to Petty to race, and then I drove back home. I get all the way to the toll highway, and Heather had to take over and drive home because I was getting tired, but I didn't fall asleep because I was worried about my car on the trailer.
We've
made
all
home with it.
Well, there you go. So what you're saying is Heather is the backup hauler driver if you need it.
Sure is.
So when is she getting in a race car?
I hopefully never.
I'm surprised.
She's on inside now. She didn't hear that.
Oh, okay. So we can talk about her now, is what you're saying.
Oh, she's probably listening still, though.
We'll make last call on social media now. You got a question or a comment, drop it down below. Ashley Creelman says hi to you. There's another guy. We talked about these rookies and these newcomers that have come on in the last couple of years to bring this Sportsman division in Nova Scotia to where it is. There's another one in Ashley Creelman.
Yes, he's doing pretty good. Ashley is. I like racing with him too. He's pretty clean and it's a pretty good car, and he's got pretty fast over the last few races. He's getting hard to catch.
Absolutely. Tyler Hallahan's watching, says, hey, Joey, hope you have a great season. By the way, and Dylan, you can attest to this because you've watched a couple of our Jim Hallahan iRacing shows. Tyler didn't have the best of luck on Sunday, but he kept his temper in check which is the best thing that he can do, because I know he gets a little hot under the collar. So congratulations to Tyler on that. Not the finish that he wanted to, but I digress. Ange says followed him all the way home. Heather says Joey happens to be one of my favorite drivers.
That's right. Hey, my sister's a big supporter in my racing too. Angela, she's a big help. She's always there to keep us fed and to deal with whatever goes on at the track. You know, my dad is too. I got to get my dad's name in there. He's a big supporter and a big help.
Angela does a lot of baking to help keep everybody going, right?
Oh yeah, a lot of bacon and no, we got the barbecue going at the racetrack, cooking some hamburgers and hot dogs.
This is a good one. Freddie Bannister asked, "Who do you want to see in a Sportsman that doesn't necessarily have the funds to do so that you think would do well in one?" So who do you see, like, maybe in these lower divisions, or maybe he's been there before that you'd like to race against again? Who would you like to see in a Sportsman car?
I like to see Mark McMullen's young fella into a Sportsman car. I think he'd be a good driver. Dylan.
Yeah.
That's the same story, buddy.
You've raced with a lot of guys over the years. Who would you like to see back in a race car that might not, whether they're retired or they moved on to other things, or whatever the case may be? Who would you like to do a couple more laps with if you had the opportunity to?
I like to see Jordan Vino come back and race with us on a Friday night at Scotia Speed World. Now that I can keep up with them.
I think he did the one race and broke in the heat, I think, or something like that. Didn't make the feature the night that he was out there. So I know he's busy with the pro stock and everything else, but now that now that the Sportsman car works and it's in one piece, he should come out more often, right?
Come out on the Shriners night or something and run with us on a Friday night.
The Shriners or the 100 or one of those big shows, right?
That's right.
Season opener, whatever the case may be, get out to at least a show or two. Dennis Nickerson says Angela is your bodyguard.
Yeah, she sure is. He takes care of everything.
Absolutely. She does everything pretty much on the team. Dylan, what else do you have for Joey before we cut him loose tonight?
You're just getting all the Sportsman racers in the comments right now. It's almost like a Sportsman race in the comments.
We're the best. We're the best series going. Sportsman.
One driver that's popped up, I'm just gonna ask and maybe ruffle some feathers. One thing that happened during the IWK 250 weekend was you and Phil Varkos got into a little bit.
Just a racing deal.
Did you guys exchange Christmas cards at all, or?
We talked over that. That was just racing. We settled all that all behind us. We're just racing hard.
So when the fans see that, and it's passion, right? You both are going, I think, for the top 5 at that point too.
We're working pretty good. We were.
Yeah, and it's just
off.
Friday night, and then both your cars get torn up. It just heat of the moment stuff, right?
It was. No, when I wrecked and I opened my eyes and looked at my hood and I seen my front frame rail standing straight up in the air, it's not good. It wasn't.
We thought there was gonna be a boxing match in turn 3. Honestly, we were waiting for it.
But hey, no, just had a few words, but it's just in the heat of the moment. That's all.
Yeah.
But we're too old to fight.
So you're saying Phil's young, or you're too old?
Well, we're both too old. He's older than me. No. Phil's been at her for a long time too. Phil's a pretty good guy. We get along pretty good, and we're just two drivers trying to go for the same real estate.
They got to make Riverside wider or something, man. Give an extra lane.
I think 5 feet wider would be perfect.
Yeah, if they did a big remodel.
That's right. They should.
I mean, it'd be interesting to see, like, if a track could be reconfigured, if money wasn't an issue, like what you could do to some places, like with drivers saying, "Hey, maybe try doing this."
I don't know. It's just driver hard.
Yeah.
Drive her until you can't drive her in. I don't know, until you see God. That's what I tell everybody. Drive into you, you see something, see God, or you feel something. Riverside's quite the place down there.
Brad Eddy, I think, was the same way when he explained it. The first year he got into that pro stock at Riverside, he said, "You drive it down until you see Jesus, and then you turn.
Yep, that's right.
You drive
Drive
it
right.
down until you see, and then you just you get on it and you go." And
Back on her and back out.
right. Got a couple of comments here. We have a comment saying, "Put the Silver Fox back in for a race," but I don't think there'd be any cars left.
Oh, geez, old Silver Fox, old Eddie. Eddie's been with me. He's been with me since for my first win,
Yep.
way back in 1999.
Yep, absolutely.
We call him the Arctic Fox now because he's more white than gray.
Okay, I'm gonna have to use that.
Yeah, the Arctic Fox now.
He is a character. There's no doubt
Eddie's an
about that.
awesome guy. He helps me out quite a bit on the race car too, and Jeffrey.
Yep.
He's-
Beth Livingston.
He gets pretty nervous when me and Jeffrey are on the track together. He can't watch us, he says. When we're close together, he said he can't watch us. He gets too nervous.
Just turns away until the time's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now Beth Livingston says the big question is, will you ever take Rob hunting?
I will next year, first day or second day. I will.
Okay. I see Matt Jardine is watching. Blake Lawrence is watching. Oh, Mark Gautreau. Did you ever get to try Riverglade?
Riverglade, no, I was there before once, but I never ever got to try it. That we're thinking about maybe this year if they have a race there, we might go up and try that track out. That's on my bucket list too.
Yeah.
Looks like a fun place.
It is to 3, 4, and 5. It's almost like Lake Dowsett in 1 and 2 and 3 when you go up to the corner. It's like a double apex corner. It's something to behold. You got to be a driver to get around that place.
I think I'd like to give her a whirl. I will.
Absolutely. Dennis Nickerson says lights at Scotia. I think that's it's funny though, and Dylan, you and I can probably attest to this too. Oysterbed Speedway is a little bit dark in 1 and 2, and I know Patty and Heart of a Champion put out one of the old Raceline shows where they were at Oysterbed back in the late 90s, or just when they reconfigured that racetrack, and it was dark in 1 and 2 in the 1990s, and I think it's still dark now.
Riverside used to be like that too.
Right.
Back in the day.
And Riverside is daylight now at night.
Yeah. They can see all their action, see everybody hitting everybody now.
Right. And I mean, that's the great thing. You've got a lot of racetracks, and sometimes we take for granted where we are and what we have for facilities. But you look at Riverside, the lighting system up there, it's one of the best around. Like it is like daytime up there when it's in the middle of the night.
It sure is.
Joey Moser, love me a good Joey. Been around this old fella since back in the good old days at Riverside. Might have rode the back of the tow truck a time or two to pick up his street stock, but he was always back strong the next week.
Sure was. Yeah, he picked me up a few times off the track.
Do you got any good?
Guy too.
Do you got any good Joey Moser stories we can tell that are PG?
Oh God, I don't know. What's PG and Joey Moser? Yeah, what's PG and Joey Moser?
Some of those prescriptions that the doctor rigs up are a little.
Yeah, I have to hook up with him this year and get some of the doctor prescription from the doctor from him.
Go up the campground at Riverside. He's there. Look for the flamingo.
We'll find him this year.
Dan Cameron says, Joey, got to stop hitting everything.
Dan, you keep welding everything up for me, buddy. So I'm good to go.
I'm just impressed that Dan had some really good AI photos of his car on New Year's Eve and with the fireworks in behind, and then they actually shot the fireworks off behind, and he didn't get any good pictures.
I know, eh?
The easiest thing is to make sure that you know if it's real, you can use it, right?
That's right. That was fun trying to push Dan's car back in, wasn't it?
Absolutely. It's always good. Dan is due for an appearance on this show too. So Dan, get ready. You're gonna have it, I'm sure,
Yeah,
before the season starts, right?
he sure is. Do he? And please, you got to get him on there.
Yeah. Uh, Pete Miller says he likes Fireball. I don't know if that's to you or to the other Joey.
Oh, I like Fireball too. Is that what he likes? Fireball? Oh, that
Pete,
might not be a good combination. Two Joes and Fireball.
Pete, I know Pete loves Fireball, and I know Joey sometimes tries to avoid it, or at least he did at the banquet. He didn't really completely avoid it at the banquet, but you know what? That happens from time to time too. Uh, yeah, absolutely. Marketing partners on your race car. I know you don't do it alone, and you got a lot of good sponsors. Mentioned some of them earlier, but who else is on that race car?
Shoreline Trading Post. They're a big help supporter with me in racing the last couple of years. Warren and Sue, and I get Hodgson's Transport. They've been with me for a number of years. Gasco. Now I say Monk's Head Smoked Cheese again for my buddy Stuart, and Rector's Towing and Scrap. My buddy Eddie Rector. He's uh he's been with me for a number of years. My sister Angela's Bacon. Uh, for Hagen's Demolition, he's been with me since I started racing back 25 years. 30, it's a long time. Wayne Robson, construction and contracting. And I'm just trying to think of what else I have. We have quite a few of them.
And you've got room for more too, don't you?
We sure do. We sure do. There's always room for more.
Chris Edwards says Joey's my favorite driver. He's a great driver. Blake Lawrence, there'll be lots of fireworks when Joey wins his first. We can't shoot fireworks off at Scotia when you win your first, but I'm sure there will be some fireworks nonetheless.
Sure it'll be.
And we'll leave with this one, not to make you feel old and not to make Susanna feel old, but Mrs. Nickerson says, I still remember Joey as a kid flagging at the fence at Riverside.
No, that was a long time ago.
That was not yesterday.
I'd love to see some pictures. I wish somebody had pictures of me doing that with all the flags made up.
Well,
Flagging.
if anybody has it, I'm sure there's somebody from back in the day that will have something. So I
Gotta
guess
hit up Isaac. Go look
Yep.
through your archive.
Ken
Okay.
might have it.
That'd be
Yep.
not. And happy birthday to Ken.
Yep.
Too. His birthday was the other day.
All the January birthdays, it's hard to keep track of sometimes.
Or it's just like April.
Yes.
Another birthday too.
Absolutely. Joey, this has been fun catching up. Congratulations on the season you had last year, and we're looking forward to what goes on in 2026.
Thank you so much. And hopefully we get some hardware this year.
Absolutely. There's Joey Livingstone, and I didn't do any transition graphics tonight, so you're stuck with what you have on the screen until we get this next guy on, and really excited to catch up with this guy here because he's been involved in racing for almost, I think, as long as Joey Livingstone, but I think Joey might have a couple of years on him. Mr. Curtis, when did you start racing again?
I started driving in, I think it was 2013.
Time flies, doesn't it?
Amazing.
Welcome in, by the way, we didn't do a formal introduction. This is Stephen Curtis, driver of the number 15 in the Heart of a Champion Hot Rod Classics, powered by Kimco, and the winner of the Conway Customs Best Looking Car Award this year. So I guess we'll start there. Congratulations.
Thanks, Tim. It was really unexpected. I didn't, when I got nominated, I said, that'll be good, but I never expected to win it. And anyway, it was really humbling for me.
I want to go back and talk about the build because Denver had mentioned it on our award show too, where it's been a couple of years and you piecing it together and taking the time to fabricate what ended up at Radical Speed Sport and what ended up on the racetrack last season. So where did the new build, the thought came to be about this race car?
Well, I had that car for quite a few years, set in my backyard. And my wife was she loved to look at that old car in the backyard. The windows all broke out of it and stuff, and but no, I had it, and I was gonna build it for the road, and it was just too far gone for that. So I built
Fun.
the Pinto, in between that, and then once the hot rod class got going, I said, I'm gonna put this old Plymouth to a pro stock chassis and see what I can do with it.
So it finally comes out at Speed Sport, and the reactions, I know there was a ton, but how neat was it to see the positive reaction to the race car, and not only at Speed Sport but throughout the season?
It was, like I say, very humbling for me to build something in my own garage here, and just to see, and that's what it was built for. It was just for for the people who used to race years ago and look at it, and when I took it down to Peter to get it lettered, there was an old couple passed me on the road, and they're probably in their early 80s. And the old lady looked out the window and the double thumbs up, like that's the race car they remember. You know what I mean? So no, it was fun.
To be a part of the Hot Rod Classics, and I know your route to the Hot Rods was a little, I don't want to say untraditional or unconventional, but your route started with an Atlantic modified tour car, which ended up being a hot rod, which ended up getting to where you are today, obviously with the new build. So you were racing modifieds, hot rods come along. What was the drive to go hot rod racing?
Well, to be honest, when I got the modified years ago, that was my goal, was to race vintage, and there was no vintage class around here. So I said, none of us, meaning our local guys, are going to get down to Maine to race. I said, wouldn't it be cool to put a Pinto body on this old car and go down and race a couple of times with the wicked good guys? So I ran a couple of years with the AOW body on it, and then I put the Pinto body on it, and that was my goal. And then once the Heart of the Champion started up, I said, well, there's my new home.
And to be able to race at all of these different racetracks and have the opportunity, if you want to go to, Scotia Speed World, or go to Petty Raceway, or go to Oyster Bed Speedway, you have the opportunity every summer to go visit these markets at least once. But to race with guys that, Stacy Clements, and we had Scott Alexander race at Sydney, and these guys that are running, Donnie Young, these guys that are racing every single week. List goes on and on. What's it like racing with these guys that have so much maritime racing history?
Well, it's kind of frightening, really, to be honest, because there's, if you look at the talent in the hot rod class, the drivers, like anyone who was in there has done, has raced in different classes and actually made a splash in other classes, right? So they're all very good drivers. They're all, very, I don't know how you would say it, accomplished drivers. And to get in there and to be on the track with them, and it gives you a confidence level that, I didn't, I'm not an aggressive enough driver to be, a really good race car driver. I always say I'm not a race car driver. I'm just a guy who likes to drive a race car. But the confidence level that these guys got rubs off, and you can try stuff, not necessarily crazy stuff, but you can run to your limit, and these guys are going to kind of take up the slack for you a little bit.
Absolutely. Dylan, before I come to you, I see we have a comment from Doug Shand. He said, "Congrats, Steve. Love seeing that sweet rod of yours turning some laps at Lake Dowsett Motor Speedway this coming season." Before we talk about that, did you see that they released the Christie's Classic honoree for this year? Dylan?
I did not.
It's Paul Morris.
Oh, yes, I did. Yes, I did. I saw the.
yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I saw the
Yeah.
post on Facebook. Sorry, baby brain.
You want to talk about a guy that's been around the sport at Lake Dowsett and Yarmouth and everybody else. When I saw that there's not many that come to mind, at least that we talk about the generation that we're in right now in the current 2025 2026 Lake Dowsett Motor Speedway, where you're seeing these guys still turn laps. Paul Morris is still turning laps in the Sportsman and very competitive in that late model Sportsman as well. So hats off to Doug Shand, hats off to everybody involved. I am very much looking forward to being there that day. I know I'm scaling back a little bit on my Lake Dowsett schedule. I'm scaling back a lot of my schedule this summer as well, but I will be there that night because I want to see the hot rods race. It's always a phenomenal time when you guys come to Lake Dowsett.
Mm-hmm.
But to see Paul Morris and honor Paul Morris and the Morris family and everything that they've done for motorsports in that area is going to be absolutely phenomenal. So really looking forward to that. But Steve, what do you say? What do we got to do to get you down to Lake Dowsett?
I don't know. I'd like to go down there. I mean, it's a wild looking facility. Like you see it, and it's huge. I mean, it's a bit of a haul from Miramichi. So it kind of, I gotta pick and choose my dates where the budget will fall. So I don't know. It's up in the air yet whether we'll be to Lake Dowsett this year or not, but we'll try. I mean, if I can swing it, I'd love to get down, but we'll take it week by week and see what we got.
Ferry's a little cheaper now. St. John Digby.
True. Yeah, it's always hooking on a trailer with a truck with 400,000 kilometers on it.
Mm.
It's a bit of a, you cross your fingers, until you get back.
Yeah.
But no, we'll see. I like, I hear lots of great stuff about that track, and all the hot rodders that go down there, they say, the fans and the hospitality and they say everything is just, second to none.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Never know if I can get Johnny O to come on, get him at a school and come down too. You never know.
That was the next thing I was going to ask, and now that you brought him up, I guess we can talk about him. John O'Shea, how neat is it to have one of the voices of racing, and he's done so much for the Miramichi on your team and traveling up and down the road with you?
John's a great guy. I wouldn't be at the track without him. I mean, he's very passionate about racing, and not so much demolitions, but
or burnouts.
No, but no, John is a great guy, and he's a real race car fan. Like and he's a big part of my team. And I always torment and say, it's fun to have him as a spotter because in cautions he tells me the weather. So it's he's actually was calling bingo tonight, so he's the most hated man in Miramichi tonight. So.
Oh, the old granny's getting mad at him.
Yeah.
And we're right on the time of probably bingo because it's probably 8:00, right?
Yeah, it gets over at 8:00, so you should be wrapping her up pretty soon now.
Take a deep breath, John. It's 8:05. Deep breath.
Before I go to Dylan, I see that Doug Matchett is watching, and I know you've raced with Doug, and obviously in Miramichi. I know he's not done his modified days, but I know he would fit right in with a hot rod. There's another guy in Doug Jago. Did you not take your car up to Turkeytown last year?
I did, yeah. Doug invited Chris and I up, and actually I think he invited Kim up too, Kim Hollahan, anyway, we took our cars up and put them on display and run a couple of slow laps around the dirt track there. But Doug's got a great thing going there. I mean, the atmosphere at that track was, like no other that I've been to. Like, you see some animosity at different tracks and stuff, and there was none there. There was kids playing, and it was a real family event. It was a breath of fresh air.
There is a guy that once he's done, dragging, dirt drags with tractors, and he's got all kinds of stuff in all kinds of toys in his garage, his shop. I think he needs a hot rod. I think that's the next thing that he needs.
I tried to pawn my Pinto off on him for 2 years, and he wasn't having it. Even to see him get in the Pinto and run a few modified races in Miramichi and stuff, and maybe do what I did, but it's found its new home over in Fredericton somewheres, and anyway, we'll get Doug out at some point.
I think, Dylan, that sounds like a winter project for Doug Jago. Not that he needs any more on his plate with everything that he's got going on. And I know he just announced here last week about his 4x4 Jamboree. It's happening the July 11th weekend, and I think he said it was going to be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday deal, and maybe the Sunday parties into Monday or whatever the case may be. But check out Turkeytown Motorsports for all of that. But I think Doug doesn't need another toy, but I think he needs to come hot rod racing.
It'd be fun. I mean, it just for the one-offs too, which we saw. Well, Scott Alexander, who knows where that could. But Greg Seward, he got to race to multi-time Hall of Famer. Like that happened a few times now for you.
Yeah, just I won't say I raced against Greg. I was on the track the same time as Greg because he was in Stacy's car, and that's quick. But just to be on the track with guys like him and Frank Frazier, I was on the track with in Petty as well, and there's you don't imagine racing against these guys, like not to say that I'm that much younger, but I went to a lot of NASCAR races and stuff and seen these guys race, and never imagined that I would ever, have an opportunity to be on the track with them. I mean, it's pretty wild, really.
With your car, the new one, some issues here or there, but where I'm going though is the hot rodders, whether it is the crew members or drivers. If you say I need help, or even if you don't say I need help, you will get help. Drivers and crews will help you.
Oh man, this is the people involved in the series are amazing. I mean, without them, that car wouldn't have been on the track. Like, if I was looking for anything, Patty gave me parts, and Greg even gave me parts off of his old car, one of his old cars. There's parts from everywhere on that old car. And if you need any advice, I've tormented Stacy enough about setup stuff, and anyone, Jeff went and got a transmission for me, and it's so much for group effort. And then when I finally finished the car and took it down, and Peter lettered it up, and Jim was there, and he said, what do you need to get this car on the track? And I said, just, I got to put the bumpers on. I said, I never scaled it or nothing. And he said, well, when you come back to get it, he said, bring your helmet and suit. He said, I'll have it ready. We'll go out to the track. So I went down, and they had made arrangements with Scotia and Greg and Patty and myself and Jim. We all went out to the track and kind of shook the car down. So it's pretty cool that these guys have taken me under their wing. So, and with all the help, I mean, it's amazing.
Where do you find the new car, the Fast Fury, works the best? Because we go to a variety of tracks. We go from Riverglade to Lake Dowsett and Riverside and everything in between. So for you, where has that car felt the best so far?
Well, Oyster Bed, I had probably the best run. I still couldn't steer it. I had no power steering all season, except for Petty. I finally figured it out. And, you know, with, yeah, Oyster Bed was cool. I always had fun racing there. So it was probably the best showing for that car. Now that I got my steering figured out, a little bit of power assist. I can work on the handling this year and try to get it where it needs to be.
One more before I throw it back to Tim. Going back to the Hanley Pinto, and I remember this because Tim brings it up on the broadcast. But when we were part of the IWK 250, Tim says I was talking with Steve Curtis in the pits, and Steve says this is our Daytona 500. You're in front of the IWK 250 Saturday crowd. What did that mean to you to be a part of that show back in 24?
It was amazing, really. I mean, again, like I'd never expected to be on this. They had our cars right out front, and it was kind of in the autograph session, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm standing around. There's actually big crowds of people all around the hot rods and stuff, and I'm sitting there. I shouldn't be here. That old car I built in my garage, it shouldn't be here, but it was. No, it's quite something. You look over and you see the premier of Nova Scotia kind of leaning up against your car. It's kind of saying, it's cool. I mean, just that facility down there too. It's so amazing.
And to have Junior Hanley there that weekend too, right?
Was that the weekend? Yeah, that was. Yeah, I got to meet him. Ricky McFederich set that up, and him and Stacy, and went over and met him, and I didn't get a chance to talk to him too much. I probably couldn't have talked to him too much because I was quite nervous early, but no, it's a opportunity I never thought I'd get, and thanks Stacy and Ricky and those guys for doing that for me.
Greg Seward says special if you remember the gas.
Yeah. I can always say that. Remember that time I drove Greg Seward's car in Oyster Bed,
Mm-hmm.
and that goes back to we went over there, and I kind of stopped on the way, and we said we'll stop at the last spot to get some gas. So just outside of Charlottetown, there's a Robin's Donuts there, and a gas station. So we were all excited, went in and took a bunch of pictures, with the Robin sign and stuff, and jumped in the truck and back, unhooked the car and the trailer and stuff, and said, we don't have any gas. We forgot to get the gas. So anyway, went over, and Greg seen us kind of shaking our heads and scratching our heads and stuff, and he said, "What's wrong?" And I said, "Forgot our gas." "What do you mean you forgot your gas?" I said, "We stopped at Robin's and got coffee and no gas." "You stupid earth." Said, he said, "Here," he said, "take my car and go get some gas." So anyway, so I can always say, "Oh, at that time I drove Greg Seward's car at Oyster Bed." So it's kind of a funny little story. They never let me live it down.
I'm sure they won't.
And actually last year too, I was practicing the Fury, and car started sputtering on the just coming out of 4. So I pulled in, and by the time I got halfway down through the pits, I had run out of gas. And anyway, we pushed it back, and Greg kind of looked at me and said, "What happened?" I said, "Run out of gas." And you can guess what he said. So it was fun. Those guys are great to be around. They torment and go on. It's It's a great atmosphere.
We kid because we care, I think is the saying.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Patty says Steven's taking some good ribbings over the gas story. So
Yeah.
there's been a few over time. Billy Powell Jr. says, "I want to flag Miramichi. Patty, make it happen." So there you go. That is on Billy's wish list, and who knows? I think you guys have visited pretty much every racetrack in the region besides Miramichi, and obviously I don't think Valley Raceway is going to happen, Dylan. But you know.
No, there was a guy with the Plymouth. Remember the guy who had the Plymouth Satellite there?
Yes.
That car that should have been in the Hot Rod Classics. And it's like,
Yes.
brother, why are you racing that at Valley Raceway?
Yeah. Why are you
God
here?
love Peggy and Greg, but why are you racing that there?
Right.
And then I think the whole axle got ripped out one race.
And that was the end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be fun to race up here. I mean, I think it'd put on a good show. We got to get, like John says, make stock car racing great again. It's bringing another race class to the Miramichi. It would be fun.
I think it would be a great racetrack for you guys up there too. We do have Stephen Pickett Jr. waiting in the wings, but I think with this show as well, with having Joey Livingstone, Joey's raced, a mini stock and a street stock and a Sportsman. We talk about you racing the modifieds and the hot rods, and we wouldn't be remiss of where you started. What about the mini cups?
Well, the mini cups were a lot of fun, actually. They were, especially at Oyster Bed, they were really fun. You're laying on your back, basically 2 inches off the ground, and you don't touch the brakes really. So it was interesting. It was fun. I learned a lot, and I moved on. It was a great stepping stone. But
There's not many around. I know there's a few that got into a couple of those cars, and I know we had the story about Randy Miller racing one at one point, and there's been a few that have moonlighted in them. But it's one of those times that you kind of look back on now because they're not here anymore, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. No, like I say, they were a lot of fun. It's very knacky, like a little, an eighth of an inch here or there makes a big difference in those cars, and you let off the gas for a little bit, and you're basically, it's all momentum, right? It's the whole thing is momentum. So if you can get your car to not scrub off any speed and keep it to the floor, you're going to win races. And that was, again, I'm not a race car driver. I'm a guy who likes to drive a race car, and my nerves a lot of times get the best of me like that. So I was a little hesitant, not, when you drive into the corner and everything in your head tells you to hit the brakes and you're not supposed to, that's where you lose your time in the mini cup.
Patty says, are there any around? I think most of them got sold to Maine and Quebec, right?
Most of them went to Quebec, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, they were fun. They were fun while it lasted. It had their life cycle like everything else.
I see Dylan is tending to Kevin Moore's #1 fan. Do you got anything else for Steve before we let him go?
What are you looking forward to mostly in 2026 with the upcoming season?
Power steering.
My second question, how big are your forearms? Do you have like Popeye size forearms now or what?
Yeah, it's no, I'm still a stick basically, but no, it was I'm looking forward to trying to get the car handling and trying to get it a little bit more competitive. I don't necessarily, I like to be with the pack. I don't necessarily need to win races. I'm just there to have fun. Stress-free racing. That's what it's all about, right?
You don't want to stress John O'Shea out anymore.
No, he's he keeps me in my place. But no, we're just gonna go. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna tour around. We're gonna, go to some facilities that we've, Oyster Bed for sure, and Antigonish will be there for sure. We're gonna go back to Halifax. Petty is a big part of the hot rods. We'll probably do, I don't know. The schedule's not out yet, so it's who knows. But those are the ones for sure. Riverglade, if we're going back there, we'll probably go there too. We'll see about Lake Doucette. Sydney will probably be a bit of a stretch for me, and it's awful close to hunting season, so I usually hang the steering wheel up after September. So
needless to say, if you win a feature race on the Hot Rod Classics, you're not doing a burnout.
I probably would. I don't know. I'd probably be in shock, really, if I ever, I think I've got the stretch for the longest without a feature win. But, in any class, really, I never won a feature. I've come second, third, but.
So what would John say on the radio?
He would be more excited than I would be. I would be in shock, and he would be roaring.
I can only imagine if you do a burnout, what John's reaction is going to be.
Burn it down.
You got to run that next week.
Don't need the tires, though, right?
No.
I do see Brandon is here. So before we get to Stephen Piccott, do you got anything for Stephen Curtis tonight?
I don't really know what we talked about. I just got here, but just one thing. I saw that the Hot Rods. I think they donated their big check this week. So how cool is it to be part of a series that's doing more than just racing?
Oh, it means a lot. I mean, that with the IWK, I think it's 53,000 now that they've donated in the last 5 years. Amazing, really. I mean, just to be a very small part of that. I mean, all the merchandise, the hot rod merchandise, 100% of that goes back to the IWK. So no, it's a great cause. And when we were in Halifax last year, Carter, the IWK, I guess, recipient of that race, it was nice to meet him and his family and stuff. And it's just to give a little bit back to the, everybody, until you need the IWK, nobody really thinks of it. But when you need it, there's no place that, is second to none.
They're amazing people. I can attest. I was there for a couple of days with Emerson, right?
Right.
They treat you like gold there. And the stuff they supply, I know just even for newborns, but for all the kids there, it's incredible.
Yeah, no, they do an amazing job. And just to, just to be able to help, even if it's making one family comfortable for one weekend. I mean, that's what it's all about, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, no, it's a pleasure to help them out. I mean, it's it's this yourself, Dylan. The hot rod class is way more than just racing. It's it's kind of a family atmosphere. Everybody gets along, and we're doing it. We've all got the same goal in mind, is to put on a show and raise some money for the IWK and have some fun.
That's it. That's what it's all about.
So
I know you got some marketing partners on that hot rod as well. Who makes it happen to get you guys to the racetrack?
well, John O'Shea, the Johnny O Show. John helps me out. Our Robbins Donuts, they've been with me since 2012, 2013, I guess, when I first started. Town Auto Group. I've been working with Town for 25 years. They've been a supporter from day one too. Danny Underhill come on board last year, the handyman Dan. Danny's a big car, not really good friend of mine, been friends for years. He helped out a lot. Point Design, Peter, and those guys, there's a lot of help from a lot of different angles, and with the hot rod sponsors themselves like Kimco and Dartmouth Metals and Eminer Automotive, Young Drivers. There's a lot of people that got to come together to put show on the track and to help every one of us, and that's that's about it. Brad Siliker Motorsports, I can't forget Brad, because half of my car is used stuff off Ashton's car. So
I'm going to leave us here with 2 comments. This first one comes from Chris Wilson. Says, "Congratulations, Steve, on the award. Great to see a home-built body and hand-lettered paint win over bodies that come in boxes and lettering that gets spit out of a printer."
Yep. Yeah, it's a lot of time on that, in that body.
And we'll leave this with Patty, and it's a two-faced comment, and I think we're gonna let Patty have the last laugh, I think, on this one tonight. He said, number one, the serious thing, and we can all echo this as well. It's a pleasure to have Steven and his team involved with the hot rods. He exemplifies what this series is all about. And then when he was talking about the burnout, if you win, he said you might run out of gas doing the burnout.
That's a possibility too. Yeah.
This has been great catching up tonight, Steve. Congratulations on the award. Congratulations on the hot rod build, and we look forward to seeing you in 2026.
Thanks a lot, Tim. Thanks, Dylan, and everybody. It's wish you could be at the banquet next weekend, Tim, but way she goes, I guess.
I wish I could be too. I've already told Greg and Patty I wish I could be 2 places at once. I will physically be in Charlotte. My heart will be in Halifax. I can tell you that much. But always a pleasure, and we're gonna have to do this again sometime. For a guy that's shy, we could go on all night.
Actually, when I was talking to you this afternoon, I texted John. I said, John, what are you doing tonight? He said, I'm calling bingo. I said, rats. Thought I needed a backup here, but no, thanks for having me on, and we'll be chatting with you in the next little while for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's Stephen Curtis, and we've got another guy here that's his family's been involved in motorsports for.
Tim, can I say one quick thing as well?
You can.
He was just talking about some of the sponsors there. On behalf of the Hot Rod Classics, want to send our condolences to the family of Maria Badonis, who was the COO of Young Drivers. Unfortunately, passed away during the holidays, and her and her organization jumped on with the Hot Rod Classics in 2025, and they all came to the track at Scotia Speedway. We got to meet her, and devastating news to read, but I really hope that Young Drivers sticks with us, and great partners, and you don't want to hear that. So sending our condolences for sure.
Absolutely. We're all a big family at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
Here's a guy that is going to be busy, has been busy the last couple of years racing the legend car, and now Stephen Piccott Jr., you're heading down south to go to Florida. So I'd ask how the off season has been, but I'm sure it's been busy.
Yeah, it's been a little busy. We've been getting things prepared to go down to Florida. We original plan was to take all our own car, trailer, and haul everybody down there, but turned out that that was going to be quite a task. So the opportunity, presented itself to take part with Miller Performance. Had the connection through King Competition, Danny and Corey and all them. So they kind of hooked us up with them, and it's going to be a good week for us, I think.
That's the thing, because I know there's a couple of Bandolero teams that are going down and taking in the event, and they talked about renting compared to taking their own stuff down. A lot of our guys typically do take their stuff down, but in a case of Danny and yourself and a few others, the rental is, especially in this economy, is just as easy as bringing your own stuff down, right?
Yeah, we looked at it for a while, and it's pretty much the same, honestly. And it's, just less hassle, you know, right? And the other part of it is those guys are already down there, right? Like we're going down, we've never even seen the place, just pictures and videos online. So just the knowledge that's going to come with that's going to be huge, we think.
And obviously, they know the racetrack. They know everything. Danny has obviously had some success down there at Winter Nationals and Showdown. So that's going to be big. How big is it going to be for you to be able to lean on Danny Chisholm for his experience there?
Well, it's going to be huge. No pressure, right? You're just going to drive basically the same car he won the whole thing with last year. So, I mean, you know, I guess there's our, not our expectations, but the goal, I guess, maybe. But no, it's going to be huge to have that group of guys around us. They're all really great people and they're very smart. So hopefully this is the last kick we need to get us up to the front.
Minus, motor combinations can be a little bit different in these legend cars. Everything is everything bare bones the same that you're going to run on the 34 car at home that you run down there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's all same motor, and you know, there's only so much you can do to them, right? And that's kind of the part that me and everyone that works on the car with us, Zach and Austin and Dad and everybody who's ever taken parts, just learning the little things, right? That with the setup that just gets you that little bit better. So that's hopefully what we're trying to learn down there.
So let's back up a few years here and let's go back to the start. What possessed you to go legend car racing? Because there's a lot of racing on the island. There's a lot of racing in the Maritimes. Why'd you go legend cars?
Well, I was in karts when we were in Ontario for, I did that for like 5 years. I started when I was like 12, did it right up until, you know, started high school basically. And then took a break because, you know, I basically just aged out of it and then kind of just didn't do any racing for a while. Had some iRacing, that was about it. And then moved back to the Maritimes, and Dad, you know, as everybody knows, used to race and he's got a lot of connections. And it just kind of, you know, I mentioned to him, I wasn't thinking legend car. I was just kind of bored in the summer and was like, maybe we can get a bomber or something and just go have fun with. And next thing I know, there's a legend car in the garage. So it was a pretty special time when that happened. And the first year was just learning. You know, we had the black car, and it has a special place in all of our hearts. But you know, it wasn't a front runner by any means, but it taught us a lot. And yeah, ever since we got the new car there, the multicolored bright and yellow blue machine, that people either love it or they hate it, I think. But it's we've come a long way for sure.
Well, we're going to bounce around a lot here in the next little bit, but that car is a throwback, right?
Yeah, 100%. So that's that used to be Dad's paint scheme back in the late 90s there, early 90s, I guess. He's going to be angry I said early, but but yeah, no, it's the people that know what it is think it's pretty cool.
Absolutely, and the learning curve. These cars are not easy to drive. So the learning curve was steep, but you've taken to these cars, and you're very competitive in these cars now. So what was the biggest, I guess, hurdle trying to learn these cars, coming from your experience in karts and starting with the black car and working your way up?
You know, it's really the biggest thing was I didn't run on ovals in karts. You know, the only time I ran an oval was on iRacing. So I mean, that was a big thing. The first time I ever got in the car was at Riverside. Actually, we went out there all by ourselves one afternoon and just kind of said, okay, let's see what happens here. And I mean, we didn't have a stopwatch or anything. Dad had his cell phone. He was sitting there going like, I think that's pretty good. Like, I don't know, like what? And we were only there, I think, for like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And then like the exhaust pipe fell off and we didn't know how to fix it because it was the first day. So it was, it's been a big learning curve for sure. And then, you know, Corey Hall's obviously been a big help with just little things on driving style and everything. I'm starting to back up the corners now. That's kind of an inside joke with me and him. But yeah, and they're just so like on edge all the time. They're kind of like pinballs and pinball machine, right? So, and then last year, I would say the biggest thing was just we kind of learned how to go fast the first 2 years. And then last year was kind of, okay, we got to get a little more aggressive. So learning how to do that without wrecking the car or making anybody too angry was our latest challenge.
It's always one step at a time, right, Dylan?
Sorry, I'm baby mute. Baby mute. He was crying.
What do you
Yes.
yes. What do you got for Steven tonight?
It's nice having you on. I was saying earlier on the show, I went back on the Oysterbed YouTube channel to watch the Piccott Care 50 because I was thinking, like, man, you started on the pole for that race.
We did. We did. That was a big moment for us. We won that heat race. That was the first time I got to drive around the track with a checkered flag. So that was another a little inside joke I had with, it was mostly mom and dad. I was like, I just want to do that one time. I don't care if it's the heat race or whatever. I just, the picture's going to look really cool. So we got that out of the way. But no, then to go out and start on the pole behind or in front of all those guys, it was a learning curve for sure. I didn't really know what to expect. Obviously had a bunch of people around me giving me, tips, run this line coming off of 4 and gas up here and make sure you don't jump the start. Because we did that a couple times. But it was really cool.
To do it at your home track, though, like how much extra was that for the heat win and starting front row?
It was a little bit of pressure, I'll be honest. I remember we went to the lineup and you push the car up and I'm standing around. I think I lost count of how many people came up, had something to say, good luck, congratulations, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it was really cool. I couldn't even list off how many people we knew obviously that were there watching, cheering us. So it was pretty special.
And that race had a couple of big wrecks at a turn 4. That really closes up really fast when poor Tegan Dempsey got knocked around like a pinata.
Yeah, that was really unfortunate, that deal there. But it's just one of those racing deals and it's all part of the learning experience. And yeah.
And it was and like watching that video, it's like, oh my gosh, the weather was perfect that night.
It was pretty neat. I've watched it a couple times there. I put it on the TV. I was like, I don't remember seeing the pretty sunset in the car, but it's good to know it was
You
there.
see it, but you see it behind the trees barely.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like I'm verbally describing it. You barely see it, and then we get going. But Legends Racing, kind of similar to what we just had with Steve Curtis. You guys and girls go all across the Maritimes in a variety of different racetracks, and how difficult is that to go from a high banked Riverside race to OBS to Scotia Speed World and all over the place?
It's been a challenge. That was something we dealt with because you mentioned the home track thing. We actually realized at the beginning of this year, before like the Super Series and the tour races, Oysterbed was actually the track we ran the least because there was just no races here, right? So other than if we just went out and practiced on our own or something, that was all the laps we had there. So we actually probably have the most laps at Petty, if I had to guess. Maybe I know we went to Scotia a lot the first year, but no, it's definitely, they're all very different. So getting used to all of them touring around's been definitely a challenge.
What's been your favorite? I mean, I'm sure the home track has a special place, but what's been the best track that you have found so far driving that car?
Most fun's definitely Riverside. Definitely Riverside. I just like, the speed, there's room, just that whole sensation's pretty hard to match anywhere else.
And that Friday night, we were talking with Joey Livingstone earlier. Legends are on the same bill as the Sportsman. You've got a giant crowd even for a Friday night, what we'll call it a B card with some of the lower divisions, but the place is still packed.
It doesn't feel like a B card in the moment.
No,
I
it
remember
doesn't.
lining up and you kind of, it's also the only place where you can see the stands kind of from where the pits are, right? Everywhere else there, Oysterbed, there's the hill and you can't see anything to it on the track. But I remember standing there next to the car and kind of peeking by the trailers and like, there's quite a few people over there. And then obviously pulling out, you see all of it as well. So it's pretty neat.
Under the lights too. Just beautiful night of racing.
Unreal.
And that's another track that closes up really quick if there's an incident.
It does. It does. They all seem to do that, actually,
Yeah.
regardless of how big they seem to build them. We're all going to the same place in the corner.
Absolutely. I want to ask about the Super Series because I know you guys had some involvement in putting that back on the racetrack. But how neat is it to have a home track series at Oysterbed to go to and kind of hone your skills too?
Yeah, it was really cool. It was neat to get to race against some people that they don't run the tour. It was their first year with the Legend car. It was really neat to get to race around Chase and Tanton kind of like on their own because those guys are really good. And before this year we hadn't really been all because they're like way up at the front. So we were just that was our first chance to really get and like mix around with them. So that was a big learning experience for us as well.
And to that point as well, we've seen the division at Oyster Bed. A couple of years ago, just before COVID, we start to see some legend cars come in, and then it kind of died off a little bit. And now we're kind of seeing some of those young kids like your Hunter McKinnons and the Doyles and Wyatt Peters and those guys get back into legend car racing, and it's that Bandolero up to legend car rank. But how neat is it to see some teams, legend teams, propping up on Prince Edward Island?
Yeah, it was really fun. I think they all had a good time. It was definitely done well by the track and everyone. They did a good job making it feel, real and everything. I remember the one night they had Dad come out and do the driver introductions or whatever, start your engines, and it felt like we were having a pro stock race. And it was like Saturday night, and there's like 30 people in the stands, but it was neat for what it was.
For these kids that are moving up, obviously you were there a couple of years ago getting your start in legend cars. What's the biggest thing you can tell these kids wherever they are getting into legend cars? The biggest thing you can tell them.
Definitely listen to people that have been doing it longer than you have. There's a lot of experience around. Everyone's really nice too. So I mean, if you have a question, they're gonna answer it. They're gonna try and help you out. And just be patient. That was a big thing I had to learn. You don't want to be tearing the bumper off the car every race, as tempting as it is sometimes. But and then just go fast, turn left.
There you go, Brandon. You're ready for your legend car career.
Yeah, no, that ended the minute I saw the price tag on it.
What do you got for Steven tonight?
I did hear you mentioned iRacing earlier, and I think they just updated the Legends to be a little more like the newer ones. Have you tried them yet?
I have. I tried them out. It's close. It's never going to be perfect, of course, obviously, but definitely like the visuals and the sounds and even like a little bit with the weight of how it feels and everything's pretty close. So they're a lot of fun to drive on there.
Yeah, and I know you just started racing Legends a few years ago. You're about to head to a new track this weekend or in a few weeks. So how do you kind of prepare yourself for somewhere you've never been?
It's been interesting because they don't have like Auburndale on iRacing or anything. I know if you go to like Atlanta and do the infield, I've heard that's kind of close, maybe. So I've been doing that a lot, and then just some other flat tracks basically. And of course, just talking to people like Corey or Danny, getting their advice on what their approach was.
Yeah, and again from PEI in the Legend cars, same place Tanton was. How cool is it to see what he accomplished this year?
It was pretty neat. We were all pretty proud of him here on the island. So, hopefully one day I can get in the pro stock and try and do the same thing. But yeah, we got a lot of respect for him.
There you go, Tim. You can start your Legend career now.
100%. So we'll start with the Atlanta Legends Oval in iRacing.
Exactly.
Right. You talk about Tanton moving into pro stocks. Is that the eventual next step for you? Is to move into pro stocks? Because I know there's the family history there too, right?
Yeah, that's always been a dream of mine. And, obviously if the opportunity presents itself, it presents itself. And, I'd be glad to take it. But, for now, we're just focusing on the Legend car and getting as good at doing that as we can. And you never know what the future holds.
There's a lot of folks that go to Winter Nationals and Spring Series and what have you for the first time, and they come back and their game is kind of elevated. And you see that when they come back, whether it's in a Bandolero or a Legend car. Let's look into the ball for 26. What are you expecting in this 2026 season?
Well, we're just hoping to go down to nationals and learn as much as we can. If we get in a good race and we get a good result, that's great for us, honestly. But the big thing for not even just me as a driver, the whole crew, Zach, the crew chief, Austin, we're bringing him down, and even Dad, even though, he kind of observes more than anything else, but he's going to have a lot of fun too. But no, we're all going to learn as much as we can and hopefully come back for the spring and it feels like we're so close, if we were just half a tenth here or half a tenth there, we'd be up at the front. So hopefully we can get through that this year.
Florida is obviously a tourist destination as well. You're down there for a week or so. Do you have anything else planned on the docket rather than just going to a racetrack?
No. Hopefully we're gonna have a day somewhere to, I don't know, go to the beach or something, or just sightsee, whatever that is. But when we first started talking about this, that was one of the first things we heard from like Corey and Andrew, people that have been down there. Like, it's not really it's not like a vacation. Like you get up, you go to the track, you spend the whole day at the track, come home, you go to bed, you get up, you go back to the track, like, which sounds perfect to me. But bringing my girlfriend down, and she's like, "What?" So, we'll try and squeeze in maybe some fun stuff afterwards.
Well, I haven't seen the format yet, but I know last year they did I think what they called the split shift, where we had 3 divisions in the morning and then 3 divisions in the afternoon, or 4 divisions in the afternoon. So you kind of got a little bit of time. The racing in the evening and then the next day racing in the morning is a little bit tough, but for the staff, I mean, for us calling a race, we don't get a break. So it gives you guys a little bit of a difference. And Dylan, I know you're a hockey fan. The worst thing is that the Olympic break is the same time. So unless you're going for Showdown, Tampa plays the 3rd and the 5th of February, and then there's no hockey down there unless you go to like the Solar Bears or something for 3 weeks.
Yeah. You get to cheer on Canada, though, on a beach.
Cheer on Canada on a beach.
Yeah, you watch on your phone. Watch Team Canada play, Tim.
Yeah, absolutely. That might be something to do. Brent Patterson's watching. Want to say hello to Brent and Happy New Year. He has one of his questions, and he asked, "What's the worst wreck you've been in?"
Worst wreck. That was probably what's the first one? First big one was at Petty. Going down the backstretch, and I believe it was Tegan Dempsey in front of me. Just I don't know if he checked up or I got in too quickly, but I went over the top of rear end of his car, and I saw the sky for about half a second, and I said, "All right, well, we're gonna see what this is all about." And then there was the concrete, and car was destroyed, but I was okay, thankfully. But yeah, that was a new feeling. But these Inex cars are really safe, so.
We had the conversation about Corey Hall and how much he's been an influence, but we talk about these big teams down south. There's not many quote unquote big teams around here. You got your Scott McLean's and your Nathan Blackburns, and you do have King competition with, parts and everything else, and now service and what have you, and a satellite U.S. legend car dealer. How big is it to have people like King competition right in our backyard to help you, not only you, but also the legend car community do what they do?
It's huge for us. It's pretty well everything. Like we definitely wouldn't be doing it the level that we are doing it without, people like Andrew and Corey and everybody at King Competition. Even Ethan, he crew chief for us a couple times this year. So he's a really smart kid. He's got a good feeling about his driving next year too, moving up to Legends and everything. I think people are going to be in for a bit of a surprise with that. But yeah, no, they're all very big help.
If he brings his sarcastic self to that legend car, I think not only are you going to have a great little driver, you're going to have a laugh or 6, right?
100%.
Mark Cotreau says, "Yeah, that was a bad one. I towed it off the racetrack."
Oh yeah, I know who that is now. That was that was the first time I got in the tow truck. I didn't know it was kind of like, they had water in there. I said, geez, I should have done this sooner. It's, it's hot in the car. So
I wouldn't think of Mark Cotreau to be a guy to have a luxury tow truck.
no, well, I mean, the seat was pretty comfy in there. So I don't know. It was all right.
Yep, absolutely. We'll make last call on social media now. You got a question or a comment for Steven, drop it down below. You've been racing legend cars for a little while now. We've been to some different racetracks around here. We kind of asked the question to Joey earlier. Is there a racetrack that you haven't been to with a legend car that you want to get to?
Auburndale was on that list. We went to Bud's in October. That was on the list. But we got that crossed off now. I don't really know. I saw that. I think you might have been talking about it earlier, how they're running the full Roval at Charlotte. Now, haven't driven a road course since karts, but when I heard about that, I was said, now that would be really cool. Like, maybe even just to go practice someday. That'd be quite an experience.
Absolutely. We'll talk about those big events with legend cars. Obviously, your first one is coming with Winter Nationals. Nationals for Oval is at Dillon, South Carolina. Just had Brady Kramer down there doing his thing with the street stock. Have any of those other events kind of crossed the radar?
Yeah, you hear about them, and we said now that we're doing this, maybe we don't want to do the same thing every year. So maybe next year we'll go somewhere else like that. Maybe Charlotte, something like that. Do the infield, just the whatever they call it there, the summer thing where they race with Bubba Wallace and Van Gisbergen. But that'd be pretty neat.
Absolutely. Summer shootout is always the highlight if you've never been down to Charlotte to do that deal down there. You mentioned Bud's Speedway. How neat was it? Because it's a long haul for you guys to get up there. How neat was it to not only race at Bud's but also get a podium out of it?
It was a lot of fun. It was a fun weekend. The weather wasn't great until the very end, it seemed, and even during the race, I had a couple of rain delays. But it's a really neat track. They do a good job. Even right when we first pulled in, they got the little entry gate and everything. It's all done very well for what it is, and it's a fun track. I couldn't get over how it was definitely the smallest one we've been at so far. I felt like I was on the gas for what felt like nothing, and then off it again, and just so loose. And you got to really drive it.
It's definitely a gem. It's definitely a bull ring, right, Dylan?
Yes, but it's like so fun. Like the similarities again, Riverglade and Buds, man, two great bull rings.
Yeah,
and great people up in Sydney. Great food too, and a great go-kart track across the street. Tim,
we didn't get to the go-kart track this year because they canceled our appearance when it got wet and it rained. So our crew ended up going to Member 2 and went bowling. So we didn't. Well, we went to Steel City too, but that's beyond the point. Yeah, we went over there. So it's just a great area, and even if you rain out, there's something to do at least. What do you got for Steven before we cut him loose tonight?
What else are you looking forward to this year for racing in 2026? Whether it's watching something or being part of something.
Just looking forward to definitely, obviously Florida, and then, once the season starts here, just doing as much as we can and just, getting that little bit better, and hopefully we'd like to win our first feature this year. That's kind of the goal.
So you're going down south. Tim, I'm shocked this hasn't come up. Steven, what food options are we scouting down there?
There's quite a few. I'm a big fan of Chick-fil-A, so it's kind of hard to beat that, in my opinion. But there's another place there, Huey Magoo or something. Dad likes that more than chicken. I think he's crazy, but so.
I'm going to have a conversation with your father because this is the first time hearing about Huey Magoo's or whatever it is.
It is pretty good. It is.
Okay.
If you ask him about it, you'll hear about how good it is.
Dylan, I'm sure you'll appreciate this because you're kind of a foodie too. There is a taco truck about 2 blocks down from Auburndale Speedway. It's sitting in the parking lot of a pawn shop. I had it 2 years ago. Didn't get there last year because Ashton had different places she wanted to go, and she definitely didn't want to try the tacos out of a food truck. But the authentic Mexican is better than any Mexican you're gonna find, right?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it was cheap. So if you're looking for something very close, there's not a whole lot of food close to the racetrack, and by close I mean within like a 10-minute span. But it's called Tacos, my friend. They don't speak a lick of English, but it's great food. Absolutely phenomenal.
C.
Oh no, when I was there the last time, I was like, I want that, and I want that, and they made it, and it was great. I have no complaints whatsoever. Brandon, anything else for Steven before we cut him loose tonight?
Yeah, I guess just one thing. A lot of the guys, that we've been watching on Saturdays and Sundays in NASCAR came from Legend Division. So how cool is it to be in the division that kind of set the pace for a lot of those guys?
It's really neat to think about. Last week when they announced the early entries for the showdown, and it said like Stephen Pickett Jr. and a couple other guys, and it said Kyle Busch, and like he's in the Masters division, so I don't think we're ever going to be in the same like practice or race or whatever. But like just seeing that, I was like, that's kind of silly. So it's pretty neat.
Yeah, and I guess Keelan and Braxton have been really kind of rolling through those series lately too.
Yeah. So to be in the same kind of car as those guys as they, inevitably work their way up to the higher divisions is really cool.
I guess that's kind of cool for you too, Tim, right? You get to call Kyle Busch in a couple of weeks.
Well, the kind of neat thing the last couple of years is being there with Brexton's first Legend Car wins and first Bandolero wins and the Bandolero Championship at Auburndale, and now last year he wasn't old enough to run the Legend Car, and now this year he moves into a Legend Car full time, or did last year as well. So getting to see him run his first Winter Nationals in the Legend Car is going to be kind of neat as well. So really looking forward to that. And obviously, seeing at the end of the day, all those guys for us are just other drivers getting down there and going racing. Because at the end of the day, we're all racers. That's why we're there. That's why we're at an event like that. But for those that have gone to Florida, Kyle McKinnon called me a couple of weeks ago from Sydney, and we were talking about Florida because he knows I go down, and we were talking about Daytona and going to Volusia, and he's never been to New Smyrna, but I said you got to go to Auburndale and watch the legend cars. The showdown is great. The showdown is kind of that warm up, and you've got the TQ midgets, and if you've never seen the TQs, they fly around that racetrack, and they've got the baby grands, and everything's kind of neat there. But to see the amount of legend and bandoleros that you see at Winter Nationals, and see the competition and everything stacked deep. Spring Series has kind of taken on a beast of its own in Nashville. Obviously, summer shootout is summer shootout, but there's a lot of folks that are racing by April and racing by June, July that don't get to go to those races. You get to see a lot of drivers that you don't usually see in one place at Winter Nationals. It's just one of those events that if you've never been to Florida and you've never seen it, be sure to watch it in February. And obviously, we've got some Canadian content down there. Steven's going to be down there. Ryder Smith is going down. I did see Ryan's name on the legend car list, so I don't know if they're. Last time I heard from them, they were renting down there, but it might sound like they're taking their own gear if both of them are racing. I think Ireland Rose and them are planning on going down. Addison Vino's going down. I heard Ben Turple's name at one point. List goes on and on of drivers that are going to be there from here. So you have somebody to cheer for if you're watching it, whether you're in the grandstands at Auburndale Speedway or you're watching online. Steven, sponsors on the race car and crew on the race car. Who makes it happen to get you to the racetrack every week?
Of course, you got Piccott, obviously, Clam Diggers, Toymaster Motorsports, King Competition, Corey All Racing. Zach's the crew chief, of course, and then we got Austin, Walter, Ethan, as I said earlier. And of course, I got to thank my girlfriend Emma, or else that's kind of mandatory, I guess. And of course, mom and dad, and Zach's wife now. She got married in October. That's why we missed the last race. She brings all the snacks, so I got to thank her as well.
That is the most important thing, right? Absolutely. Steven, this has been great catching up. We wish you all the best, and we'll see you in Florida in, a month or so, right?
That's about right. I've been counting the days.
Time is clicking away. All the best. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
There's Stephen Piccott Jr. There's our partners on the screen. If you're looking to support those within Maritime Racing, be sure to give them a follow and tell them that you're there watching them or they're with them because they support stock car racing with us here on Tim's Corner Live. That's going to do it for us. We're right up on the 9 o'clock.
Woo!
We're actually on time tonight. Kirk Knowles says hello. It's good to see Kurt joining us at the end of the show. I wonder if he's booked his autograph session yet in Miramichi, because I know he's got a lot of fans in Miramichi and a lot of fans at Turkey Town. But Brandon, I know you kind of disappeared during the Joey Livingstone interview, but I think, boys, that was a great night of conversation. We had three really good guests and a lot of great stories and a lot of great chat.
Yeah, and it's kind of cool. You see both kind of ends of it. Steven's pretty new. Joey's, I don't want to say old, but older.
And Stephen Curtis is kind of in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to say I'm surprised with the Stephen Curtis chat, but that was fun. I know Stephen isn't the guy that really he's a little bit shy and a little bit reserved at the racetrack, but I think it's early, very early in the year, but I think that was one of our conversations of the year so far.
The bar has been set.
John O'Shea has arrived. He got home from Radio Bingo too late.
Oh,
he probably got jumped in the parking lot.
Yeah, the old ladies were probably there trying to whack him with their purse.
You didn't call B8.
Yeah, John's going to have to go back because we mentioned John a couple of times during our interview. So, again, to recap, we are off next week. I am on my way to Charlotte fairly early next week, so we are off Wednesday. We return the next week, which is, I'll bring the calendar up here so I can look at it, the 21st. We are back the 28th as well, and we are it's either going to be the 27th and 28th or the 28th and 29th. The last show of that, whether it's the 28th or 29th, will be our Flagman show. So we will have that. Then we are off the 4, the 11, and likely the 18, back on the 25th, and then we roll into March and April. And Dave Timmons says, Tim, will we be seeing you in Sydney this year? It'll be a reduced schedule. I am not back in an official role. But I will be back, if we have sponsors to go up and cover some races with Tim's Corner and, do the social media thing. Dylan, we said it before. There's phenomenal people up in Sydney. Love the people up there. Love the racers. Just I'm not back in an official role, so we'll probably be there for the caper in some capacity. I'll probably make my way up a couple of times, but it's weird and it's nice at the same time. Where this is my 20th year doing it in Scotia. This is my 15th season doing Tim's Corner. It's sometimes nice to kind of, I don't want to say shift gears, but kind of refocus a little bit and kind of retune the schedule a bit. So, Dave, to answer your question, yes, but not in a full-time role, if that answers the question. But again, yeah. So, and then we're back in after 3 weeks off in February. We're back in March, and then we get into racing season. Speed Sport is the 17th to 19th of April. The kart race is the next week, and then we kind of roll into the racing season. So it is going to be a very busy year. It's already been a very busy year, but this is the time where things start to happen in the background. So
Yes.
Absolutely. Brandon, final thoughts. I heard maybe there's an iRacing re-debut tomorrow night.
Yeah, maybe. And I was thinking before this started, usually this is my only night of the week to chat racing, but now that I work with Martin Landry, he won't shut up about it.
There's a guy that we haven't had on the show, I don't think, that's always had something to do.
Yeah, and again, he'd be one of those guys. Last year really wasn't his year. This year hopefully looks a little better for him.
Yeah.
Because it's coming out of my paycheck. So.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, okay. Absolutely. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for us tonight. I think the Zoom audio held out most of the night. We had a couple of freeze frames on the other side, but I think everything was fine on that end. So that'll do it. Once again, we're off next week. Enjoy your middle of January. We will be back on January 21. And I'm hoping to have an announcement on that show because I want to get a couple of guys on there that haven't been on here before that I think would be a really good chat and be one of those shows that we have them for the 2-hour length. So we'll have that conversation afterwards. Dylan, you know where I want to go with that. If we can get them sat down for 2 hours on a Wednesday. That'll do it for us here this evening, though. On behalf of our team, my name is Tim Terry. We have iRacing here tomorrow night as Brandon mentioned. We've got the showcase qualifiers, 50 laps, Hickory virtual super late models, open to everybody. Come on out and join us if you've got some iRacing experience, and Paul will have it for us here on Vidane TV along with the NEP series afterwards on the Thursday. And sim racing as well, iRacing next Tuesday. But other than that, we will see you in 2 weeks' time on Tim's Corner Live. Until then, keep the hammer down, and we'll see you at the track.